let's go for a spin over the hill. I just got back from the city, so I thought I'm going to take it easy tonight. So I thought I'd take you for a spin now. I'm starting to feel a lot better. A long way to go. And the medication that they got me on, I can't sleep. So if I say things a little off, it's probably because I'm not thinking, which is not uncommon. But anyway, it's dried up pretty good. So, does anybody want to buy burdocks? I don't know if it's, I can't remember what the gentleman from the Australia said. But you'd have a hard time enforcing that here. If you had to dig it up or you'd get fined. There. Oh, seatbelt time. Yeah, you could see the water was running down here pretty good last night in the rainstorm. Sure glad that came. That really greened things up. One of the biggest fears I have living out here is forest fire. And this is, I think, I should put a seasonal thing up. Maybe I'll do it. I made some copies of them the other day on how much precipitation and the snow and the temperature for the various months on Dorn Ridge. Boy, they never crowded in here. No bush hog next weekend. He's still busy haying, which is fine. Look at that. Doesn't that look pretty? Nice big birch. Look at that. See that? Let's see if I can see it here for you. See the tree on the right is the white one is a birch. The one to the immediate left is a cedar. But what I want to point out is to see how thick it is in there. If I could come up with some kind of an idea what to do with the poles, I go in there and get some. Now, I wonder how many trees are falling down, because I haven't been in here in a couple of days. And I wanted to go now instead of this evening, so that you'll have a better view. But I can see that already that there's quite a bit of glare on the screen. So I bought a live mouse trap today, and what I'm going to do is use that in the garage, and I'm in and out of there fairly regular. I want to catch the mice, and then I'll just let them go somewhere out in the middle of a field. The dogs don't eat them, so no point in giving it to them, especially to torture. Not into that. No beavers, not yet. Not here anyway. Who knows what's going on farther up? Don't look like much. Let's go back here, take a quick peek. I should move that chair. Oh, there's a little more water. Just a freaking frog now. These little buggers. There's some big rocks in there I see too. Oh well. So it's not bad. I got some two bags of playground sand, and we're going to use that in a cooler to put our carrots in. We'll give that a test to see how that goes, so we can store them over the winter in the basement. The basement's always ice cold down there. It's like a cooler. Okay, what do we got here? Well, looks okay, maybe. You know, Nicholas, if you're listening, you should be out here getting this stuff all sorted out. You get 100 acres here, woodlot, your future, and by the time you retire, you've got yourself a little bit of money here sitting on the property. Mind you, you got to work 30 more years, but in 30 years, you'll have, well, there's enough firewood here to do me the rest of my natural days. And some of this small stuff that's in 30 years, it might be 2 inches or 3 inches round now. It'll be 30 inches before long, by the time 30 years comes. And if you manage it, and you get down here and you actually do something, you'll be able to have yourself a really nice retirement. You and your wife and that. And if you get your young fellow involved in it, maybe he'll be able to retire happily someday too off of it. Just saying. That, sir, it's up to you. Now, you've got to get in here. There's my marker. And get these trees whacked out next weekend. And if he can back down that road a little bit and get it established, we'll be able to get down to the other beaver dam soon. So I'd like to check it out to see if there'd be any fish in it. Now, the last time we had this bush hog, we didn't have a guy with a bush hog down here. All we had was a guy with a bulldozer, and he kind of made it rough on the sides. Okay. Yeah, so it was a interesting trip to the city. One of the good excuses that I had was I went to KFC and got their big crunch spicy chicken thing there, Majiggy. That's good. I should have got asked my wife about how much it cost, because I didn't see. See those trees? They're probably 30 years old, as it is. Maybe a bit more. But that's good firewood. that tree there, and that one over there, see those trees? Those are easy pickings for the, just drop them right into the middle of here, cut them up, but I don't want to be, oh, see straight ahead? See those bent branches there? A couple things could have done that. Snow in the spring, like a heavy snowfall when it's all wet. Sometimes in the fall, it'll snap all those trees over. And a moose can do that when he's shining up his antlers for make the women make him look himself attractive to the women. Oh, there's some more trees there too. I don't want to kill all my trees though. That's a lot of work. You cut the tree down and you cut it up into 16-inch lengths. You got to get it in the back of a truck, get it up to the house, get it out of there, split it either by hand or with a machine. It's a lot of hard work. So we're paying $285 for a cord, something like that. And it just lands on the driveway, and you've already seen how much effort it takes to pick it up, drive it through the gate, throw it in the woodshed, put it in a toboggan later, drag it back into the house. It takes time. Now, being retired, it's still pretty good shape. Actually, in pretty good shape. It's not much of an effort. Even 5 years from now, ask me. And then 10 years, I'll be 77. But then again, I know there's a guy on another channel there. He was putting a couple of doors in, and he was 76. Man, he was in good shape. He was a carpenter, and that's all he does. He just still does that. So, oh, and those needle trees there, those for lumber. They're not much good for burning in the house. Not when you have hardwood. But, as an example, if I went in there and took the odd, I don't know what they are, spruce or something, the odd one out, that birch tree that you can see all by itself, whether it's, well, it would just grow. It wouldn't have to compete so heavily for the light, because then it would start getting some side branches. That's why it's so tall and there's no branches on it. Where those other ones back in the opening, you could see that. Wow, it's hot in here. I guess maybe we'll just turn that down. There. My wife was picking beans today, and she says she's got 2 garbage bags full of them. That's quite the friggin' pile of beans. We'll be eating beans to blue in the face. I don't know if you can see that color there or not. Well, those are cedars in there. And the little spruce or whatever they are. I'm going to have to figure that out one day. They'll die. Normally the beavers won't eat them. You'll just knock them over. Well, they create their tangled mess. But I think this place was logged close to 10 years before we bought the property. Can't say for sure, I'd have to look. And we've owned it 7, so that's 17 years. And if we thinned it out a little bit, that would really help. Mind you, it's not so easy for me to go clambering around in there. You need a decent pair of boots. Just, you don't go out in the woods here too much if you're just in a pair of sneakers. You should have some decent laced up boots with some good arch support, some heavy socks, some canvas pants, you know, like blue jeans, but the heavy ones, like the coveralls you see me wear. Like those coveralls that I wear in most of the videos, they're so thick that even the blackberry thorns don't go through them. So it kind of saves you from getting ripped up. Every time I come back from the blackberries there, my arms are bleeding, my hands are bleeding. Kind of hard to pick those berries with those thorns with gloves on. Not something that you could normally do. Geez, I love it here. We've got a bit of a trail going in here, but we need a machinery to go in there to clear it up. We were in there a couple of years back, but what I'd like to get is one of those little bin trucks with a like one of those little front-mounted bush hogs on it. And I'd like to get something to get some of these bigger rocks out of the road, which will make it a lot nicer for driving. See how much nicer it looks like when you open it up? The canopy up above steals most of the light, so all that underbrush isn't so thick on the bottom. You can make trails easily through that. And I do like making trails out here. But you can only do that early spring. Once the bugs come around the May 24th weekend, the Queen's birthday, long live the Queen, it's almost impossible to come down here because the first big attack we have is called black flies. Those nasty buggers, you don't really feel them until they're already drawing blood, and when they take off, if you don't kill them or whatever, you got blood streaming out of your temples, your back, your behind your ears, you know. Mosquitoes, on the other hand, they get so thick that you can hardly breathe. I'm just going to jump out and move that chair out of the way. being that I'm not going to be sitting on it very much for a while. Be right back, folks. Oh. Bugs aren't too bad out here right now, but it's not that hot either. But it'd be pretty hot if you were working, I think. Won't be long. I was looking at a couple of gizmos there for sharpening up the chainsaw. I like the little one. I have a Stihl MS-81. We also have a 291, but that bugger's pretty heavy. The little one cuts good if you keep it or figure out how to get that chain nice and sharp. If anybody knows about chainsaws, is there a way I can adapt one chainsaw or the other so that they can use both the same chain and the same bar? That way I can interchange them and whatnot. And when I go to the place to buy chains and the bars or whatever I have to get, I can just get 2 chains or whatever, instead of just buying one chain for each. You know what I mean? Well, that tree's got to come down sooner or later. As soon as the snow gets on that, it's just going to snap. It's pretty neat. You usually don't get this far down here in the spring. There's always something laying here. Awesome. Boy, would I like to get the next piece of property. To the right. Won't be long and the dogs will be loving it outside once the temperature drops. Poor old Ice, he don't like the heat much. He spends most of the day sleeping. He's got that down pretty good, actually. I'm sure hoping Jody, shout out to Jody, could convince his dad to take the hay off of this. We'll get rid of the wagon and we'll just set it up so that he can come down here and just hay it. Then I don't have to pay somebody to bush hog it. Oh, should come down here. Look at this. Those buggers. What are they? I think they're called pent caterpillars. I cut some off of a tree up by the garden and threw them in the fire. What is that? And you can see if we could, those are those yellow apples. I think they call them winter apples in this zone. But you can see how if I had one of those big pruner saws there, pole saws, I could clean up some of these trees, but I don't have I'd like to have an electric one. Because sure as hell, pretty rough work there just to do it with one of those hand ones. And I'll have to tell Jody where he can go and where he can't go. We'll probably back up this hill a little bit. Right here. If you can back that up, then we can take a look and see what kind of shape it's in and whether I can get a mower to come down over that or not. There's nothing I like more than to make the property look smart. You know, park-like. And we've got some new trees down here on the right that I don't want them whacking. Because we're trying to, in the wintertime, all this dense foliage here on the right, what happens is that the leaves fall off of it. And then everybody can see in from that side of the property. So we're going to grow some trees that will help block it somewhat. But that looks like pretty close to the end of the tour today. I've got to get a little more wood off the side there on the right. Then I'll be able to get the mower in here with the cart, and then I can just take it from right to left to get into where I've already got it stacked up. I can fill up a wagon really quick then. But I feel real fortunate that I was able to get this piece of property. There we go. So, I hope that wet your whistle a little bit. There's nothing I enjoy more than taking you out for a spin. And I want you to remember something here. You see that on the other side of that hay rake? That big tree there, that is a sugar maple. And that sugar maple I'm trying to grow over the side hill here. Maybe I'll take you over here for a quick idea here so you get, if I can get my young fella over here, give me a hand. Because I'm not too good at identifying trees. And I sure don't want to be walking around with a book. Did you see these little sticks out there on the other side of these little oaks? The game is to plant row after row after row of those on this side hill. And when they get bigger, it'll be just like these oaks. And I can run along here some surgical tubing, and we could have a collection place down at the bottom there where we can get all the sap from the sugar maples. With a little solar pump on there, we could pump them up into this area here, because we do have a street light up there that I have to pay for. I don't have to, but I do. In this area here, we could get one of those pans where you put the raw sap in it, and you boil it down to a certain temperature and consistency, and then you've got yourself your own sugar or maple syrup. And then from there, if you'll learn how to do it, you can make maple butter, which is really good. And then there's another one that you can get. It's a block. I can't remember, but my wife always buys me a brick of that every year. It's expensive, but I'd rather make my own. And this is another project there. Maybe we'll start picking away at it again next time. But you can see all this leafy looking material coming up. Don't have to go very far to show you one. Let me see here. Oh, here's one. See this? This is that freaking burdock. That's the stuff that makes the burrs to get stuck on the dog. There's another plant over there. Now, I've come along here and I've dug up quite a few of them, but I'm going to have to get the old shovel out pretty soon here and get them before the burrs fall off. But there's another edition of Sheepy Hollow for Saturday. I think it's the 15th today. How's that? That's a maple, or not, that's an oak there. And it's one of those trees that on the far right, it's not there anymore, but it died because the ants got into it and ate the bottom of the tree, and then it just fell into the one on the far right. Then the excavator pulled it out and just knocked it over. I think I've burnt all that wood finally. That was a huge freaking tree. Anyway, that's enough for today. That's a nice looking lilac. I can hear someone coming. Anyway, you guys all and gals all enjoy the rest of your day and the weekend and the month, the year, whatever. Things will get better. Always does. LED. Imagine that.